What if I told you one night, one lottery combination, one single ping pong ball could alter not only a multi-billion-dollar franchise, but also the history of the NBA? The San Antonio Spurs, who finished with a 22-60 record, on average were outscored by 10 points per game, the worst mark in the league, and posting the worst defensive rating in the history of the NBA, only to have a 14% chance at the first overall pick. Now, they possess the single most valuable asset in the NBA, Victor Wembanyama'S draft rights. The franchise that developed the Admiral and the big fundamental now has its hands on the alien. Not only a superstar, a supernova. Some called it rigged, I call it destiny. Hello everyone, welcome back to Utility Sports. This video is the second of a two-part mini-series showcasing how Victor Wembanyama not only will alter how the San Antonio Spurs plan moving forward, but also how he will fit in with the current roster and the key building blocks of the organization. Prior to the 2023 NBA Draft Lottery, basketball fanatics around the world marveled at the possibility of teams such as the Dallas Mavericks, New Orleans Pelicans, Toronto Raptors, among others, possibly moving up to the number one overall pick to pair Victor Wembanyama with a Luka, Zion, or Siakam level player to begin his career. Despite all of this other talent, the San Antonio Spurs were always the best landing spot for Wemby. The San Antonio Spurs team is talented, but has been lacking a star, a true star, since dealing Kawhi to the Toronto Raptors. Now they're adding the most anticipated NBA draft prospect ever to a young core that's ready to fit around Victor and feature him as the lone star in San Antonio. The best place to start is with Gregg Popovich, a legendary Hall of Fame coach whose impact on this team is still clear as day. That Spursy ball movement is not a thing of the past. In the 2022-2023 season, the San Antonio Spurs finished top 10 in passes per game, 5th in assists per game, and even 2nd in potential assists per game, only behind the Golden State Warriors. If the shot making improves, the conversation about San Antonio will return to where it was when Diaw, Ginobili, Parker, and company were setting the league on fire. The NBA as we know it is a size league. Always has been, always will be. Skilled size dictates all, and San Antonio already has a collection of wings that offer wide-ranging skill sets. I think it's best to begin with Keldon Johnson, who has the best value contract in the NBA, and it's not even close because it descends. As the cap likely jumps over the next few years, Johnson's contract shrinks down to $17.5 million in 2027. As a good athlete, Keldon uses his frame well on both ends of the floor, often capable of absorbing contact and finishing plays at or around the rim. The most impressive aspect of Keldon's game is his ability to get downhill constantly. He does so by leveraging his shoulders below the shoulders of his defender, thus allowing him to drive downhill and maintain his line to the rim. With his shot making trending in the right direction and noticeably improved touch, Keldon's ceiling is immensely high, and his fit beside Victor offensively is phenomenal, especially if Wemby improves his offensive game by watching film on fellow Frenchman Rudy Gobert. Yes, you heard me right, Rudy Gobert. Gobert's career offensive rating is 127.4, the third best mark of all time. Rudy's offensive rating is so massive because, one, a massive percentage of his looks are right at the rim. Secondly, he secures a lot of offensive rebounds, increasing his team's points per possession. And third, he's a fantastic screener, providing more open looks for his teammates than a lot of other big men around the league. Gobert's willingness to roll hard and leverage his size, remember a 7'1" frame, into rim pressure, creating massive vertical space for lobs on drives, puts both help and tag defenders in a bind, asking themselves, do I help on the drive and shrink the floor, or stay attached to my man and live with the results? This consistent rim proximity by Rudy also puts himself in great putback positioning to follow up soft misses with fierce throwdowns. Now imagine Victor Wembanyama, who dwarfs Rudy Gobert by comparison, on the backside of Keldon Johnson drives, waiting, almost lurking for emphatic lob jams or putback dunks. Comparatively to Gobert, Wembanyama is bigger, lengthier, quicker, possesses more side-to-side fluidity, and is dramatically more skilled with an immense amount of touch. Victor has the tools to be the best pick and roll big of all time. All he needs to do is commit to rolling with a purpose and doing so often. When you turn on the film, sometimes he only does so occasionally at the moment, and that is a big concern of mine. I want him to continue to roll hard downhill, get around the rim, and be a dominant inside big first to let the rest of his game showcase later. Moving on to Devin Vassell, one of the league's most improved players in the last 3 seasons, Vassell has increased his scoring average by 6+ points per game in back-to-back years, from averaging 5.5 points per game as a rookie to 12.3 points per game as a sophomore, and ultimately 18.5 points a game this past season for the San Antonio Spurs. In this span, Vassell improved both his field goal percentage and 3-point percentage in every single year he's played. Looking at the film, it's not surprising Vassell shot 38.7% from 3 on 7 attempts a game. He's a fantastic shot maker, specifically on pull-up jumpers, because he plays with outstanding balance. Getting to 2 feet and shooting with the same repeatable motion each time has made Vassell lethal as a shooter, even with a hand in his face or working out of dribble handoffs. Now pair this perimeter skill set with a talent like Victor, who can find success screening and popping and placing pressure on the defense to choose between either Vassell or himself in the pick and roll game. This duo will be a nightmare for drop coverage teams, as Vassell's skill set and willingness to take and make pull-up middies already punishes this style, but now add in a 7'4" alien with deep range to knock down both catch and shoot threes and off dribble shot attempts, while also having the ball skills to heavily punish aggressive closeouts by driving the basketball to the rim. Switching a guard or wing onto Victor might be the option teams go to most. Will Vic's thin frame be opposing teams' best chance to slow San Antonio down? He does have a few issues currently with ball security when playing in traffic, and will likely be a little turnover prone early in his career. His pure height still is a massive problem, however, for opposing teams, as long as San Antonio finds creative ways to get Victor touches close to the rim, like this baseline out of bounds play by Mets 92 in their playoff game against Cholet, generating a touch less than 10 feet away from the hoop for Victor Wembanyama and a nice, smooth, right-handed hook shot. A few suggestions I would give to the San Antonio Spurs, in case Gregg Popovich himself is listening now, would be, first of all, flex action. A very popular and historic style of offense known as flex was built around this action. I would use this to bring Victor to the side of the basketball around the baseline by screening his guy on the opposite side of the floor and generating close catches. That's the 2 key words, close catches near the rim. From there, allow his talent to do the rest. Secondly, Spain or stack action would be another fantastic option to incentivize Victor rolling to the rim, as we earlier discussed. Spain or stack action is very popular in today's NBA, and I think it would be a perfect fit and a perfect addition to what the Spurs currently already do as well, again incentivizing Victor to get downhill. The last thing I want to see is what I had to endure while Porzingis was playing for Rick Carlisle and the Dallas Mavericks, where a majority of Porzingis' shot attempts were contested 15-foot face-up jumpers because Dallas refused to scheme him better looks, and his lack of functional strength at the position made it impossible for him to back anyone down, even smaller players who had improved leverage, lower center of balance, keeping him further away from the hoop. For all of Victor's offensive talent, the defensive end of the floor is what really excites me about not only Wemby as a prospect, but about the Spurs moving forward. This team was rough in capital letters defensively last year, especially after trading Jakob Poeltl. They finished 26th in blocks per game, and teams shot on average 3.2% better against San Antonio than their season average in total. The addition of a 7'4" big with a wingspan listed at 8 feet and unprecedented lateral fluidity at that size will definitely have an impact on opponents and how comfortable they are scoring the rock going into next season. I think Gregg Popovich, who did a great job overlooking some of Jakob Poeltl's development as a drop coverage big, will also do a fantastic job with Victor Wembanyama, kind of guiding him in the development pathway that he needs to take forward as a drop coverage big in today's league. He's already so fantastic at it. He's got so much length and size, but I still think he has to learn some of the nuances of the actual scheme. And I think Popovich, probably the best coach you can have to actually coach him up in that area. Victor averaged 3.0 blocks per game for the Metropolitans 92 this season, but that's not even the crazy part. Players don't even want to test Victor Wembanyama at the rim. Cholet in the quarterfinals of the LNB playoffs have been terrified to test Victor Wembanyama at the rim and have strongly prioritized drive and kicks over actual paint attempts if Wembanyama is the primary defender. I love the addition of this length, freaky shot blocking, and size next to one of my favorite defenders in the 2022 draft, Jeremy Sochan. Sochan's combination of functional strength, active hands, and most importantly, IQ places him in unique territory for the types of positions and players he can guard while being a strong help defender as well, who can also help secure defensive rebounds for his team. The hair and jersey numbers suggest he's the next Dennis Rodman, but the play style, skill set, and versatility suggest possibly the next Draymond Green. A growing offensive skill set, a dribble handoff machine, and one-handed free throws make Sochan not only a good basketball player, but also must-watch television. His recent Twitter activity isn't a bad thing either, in my opinion. Each and every team in the NBA needs some sort of edge, some sort of vocal leader, and Sochan brings that to San Antonio. I'm all in. Team identity is key, and I feel that Tre Jones contributes significantly to the Spurs ball movement identity we discussed earlier. Likely never a high-end starter, Jones still fills a key role for San Antonio, the team's floor general, the team's lead decision maker. Jones posted a 4.07 assist turnover ratio this season, which ranked 7th best among all NBA players who played at least 50 games this past year. Of course, his brother Tyus Jones led the league in this category. It runs in the family. He does a great job pushing the pace, getting the Spurs out in transition, and in my opinion, the Spurs will be best off continuing to play fast like they did this year, finishing second in pace. In this way, they will not become one-dimensional, building around only Victor Wembanyama. I think best case scenario, they find a way to blend all of the strengths of Devin, Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochan, who's also great in transition, Tre Jones kind of running the show and being a floor general decision maker, a guy with a very high IQ with the ball in his hands, and still having the skill set and the talent to go to Victor Wembanyama when they really badly need him to be the top option, the top priority for the team. I am so ecstatic for the future of San Antonio Spurs basketball, a good young core with the addition of a transcendent prospect and the perfect coach to oversee the progression of this young team and the alien. I want to see the Spurs add in some elite perimeter shooting since they finished 26th in three-point percentage this past season. The addition of Victor Wembanyama through the draft deserves more perimeter surrounding talent, specifically guys who can lace the ball up and rip the cords. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you all did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more, and we'll catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.